We told you earlier in this newscast, census numbers were released this afternoon. They show tens of thousands of people left Michigan cities over the past decade. Some went out of state, others went to the suburbs. Those who went to the suburbs and to our rural areas actually increased the population of our counties, especially here in West Michigan. But the cities are the ones that took the big hit. Grand Rapids alone lost nearly 10,000 people in 10 years. Joining us live right now is Grand Rapids Mayor George Heartwell. Mayor, thanks so much for being with us. I want to ask you, I know that the cities were bracing for these numbers. You knew you were losing residents. You don't need a census to tell you that. Did you expect it to be 10,000, Mayor Heartwell?
Well, of course, you know, no mayor likes to lose population in his city. We want to see ourselves as a growing, thriving area. We were not expecting to see a number quite this high, close to 10,000 drop in population in Grand Rapids, down to 188,000 population. And while that's still better than many of the other large cities around the state, it's disturbing to me. Susie, I take some comfort from the fact that we in West Michigan, our numbers were strong. We're up in Kent County. Our numbers were up. In our metropolitan statistical area, our numbers were up. And Grand Rapids remains the strong heart of this whole region. So while our numbers are down slightly in the city, I believe we're we're well positioned to grow in the future.
Let me ask you, how do you plan to grow? And I know there are a lot of things that have been in the works, but what specifically, can you list a few things that you're doing to try to stem the tide of these losses in this next decade?
Well, sure. I mean, you don't wake up one morning and say, "Whoops, we lost 10,000 people. What are we going to do?"
Exactly.
We've had in place now for this last decade. We've had initiatives like well, here I am up on the what we call the medical mile, and the investments that have been made in health care in this community will stand us well into the future. The investments we've made in higher education, the growth of higher education in our community will certainly stand us well into the future.
Mayor, let me interrupt and just ask you very quickly. Will the consolidation of governments, will they be affected positively or negatively, the effort to consolidate some of our local governments? The governor's asking for it, others are pushing for it here. Yeah. Will the census impact it in which way?
Well, I don't necessarily think that it will. I hadn't thought about that, Susie. What it certainly will do, I mean, it does nothing to impact our consolidation of governmental services. We'll continue with that. Whether it will impact the larger picture of governmental consolidations, for example, Kent County and Grand Rapids consolidating, offhand, it doesn't seem like it would to me.
All right, Mayor George Heartwell, thank you so much for joining us live tonight.
Thank you.